Imagine giving someone a roof over their head for free, only for them to call you a moocher to your face. That's exactly what happened to me during Easter dinner, and let me tell you, the look on their faces now is priceless.
It was a beautiful Easter Sunday. The sun was out, the table was set with my best china, and the smell of roasted ham filled the air. I thought we were a happy family. My son, David, and his 10-year-old son, Leo, had been living with me for 3 years. Since David's divorce, I opened my doors and my heart to them without a second thought. I didn't just give them a place to stay. I paid the mortgage, the utilities, the groceries, and even Leo's extracurricular activities. I never asked for a penny in rent. We were halfway through dinner when Leo started complaining about his new shoes. He wanted a more expensive brand, the kind that costs hundreds of dollars. I calmly told him that I'd already spent a lot on the Easter gifts and that those shoes would have to wait. I thought it was a fair lesson in gratitude. That's when it happened. Leo rolled his eyes and muttered, "Whatever, Grandma Mooch." The room went silent. I felt like I'd been slapped. I looked at David, expecting him to correct his son immediately. Instead, David started chuckling. He actually laughed and shook his head like it was a joke. David told me to lighten up. He said Leo probably heard him joking about how I just hang around the house all day while they live their lives.
Hanging around? I was the one maintaining the house they lived in for free. I was the one who cooked the meal they were currently eating.
In that moment, everything became crystal clear. They didn't see me as a grandmother or a mother. They saw me as a convenience they could mock. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood up, cleared my plate, and told them I was going to bed early. They didn't even notice I was upset. I spent the whole night thinking about my life. I had worked 40 years to own this home. My late husband and I built this legacy together. The next morning, the anger was gone, replaced by a cold, hard resolve. If I was such a mooch, it was time to see how they'd fare without me. I called my realtor. I told her I wanted to list the house immediately. I was done with the upkeep, the bills, and the disrespect. That same afternoon, I went to look at a luxury senior living condo. It had a gym, a pool, and most importantly, no one who would call me names. For the next 2 weeks, I kept quiet. I let them keep thinking I was their personal servant, while I finalized the paperwork for the sale. The day the sign went up in the yard, David came home from work in a panic. He ran into the house, shouting my name, asking what was going on. I was sitting in the living room with a cup of tea. He asked me why the sign was there. I told him I decided to stop being a mooch and sell the house. He tried to laugh it off again, saying I was being dramatic over a little joke. He said they had nowhere to go. I just smiled and took another sip. I told him he had 30 days. Since he thought I was the one mooching, I assumed he had plenty of savings to find his own place. The silence was deafening. David started doing the math out loud. He realized how much rent, utilities, and groceries actually cost in this neighborhood. He looked like he was going to be sick. Leo wasn't laughing either. He realized that his video games, his fast internet, and his snacks were all tied to the person he insulted. Suddenly, they were both on their best behavior. Leo was saying sorry every 5 minutes. David was offering to mow the lawn and help with dishes. I told them that an apology born out of fear of being homeless isn't a real apology. The house was already under contract. There was no going back. Watching them pack their things was bittersweet. I felt a little sad, but mostly I felt a massive weight lifting off my shoulders. David realized he couldn't afford a house, not even close. He had to look for an apartment, and the prices were a huge wake-up call for him. They ended up in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment on the other side of town. It's noisy, the kitchen is tiny, and there's no yard for Leo to play in. Meanwhile, I moved into my condo. It's smaller, but it's perfect. It's quiet, clean, and I only have to worry about myself. A month later, I went to visit them. I brought a small housewarming gift.
The contrast between my new life and their current situation was staggering. The apartment smelled like cheap pizza and old carpet. David looked exhausted. He was working extra shifts just to cover the basic rent. Leo didn't mention expensive shoes once. He asked if I could stay and cook something, saying he missed my food. I politely declined. They finally understood that what they had wasn't a right, it was a privilege, and they had thrown that privilege away for a cheap laugh. With the money from the house sale, I'm traveling. I just booked a cruise to the Mediterranean. I'm spending my inheritance on myself, as I should. David called me last week asking for a loan to fix his car. I told him I couldn't help because I'm currently a mooch enjoying my retirement. Some people tell me I'm being too harsh on my own son, but I believe that sometimes the only way to teach someone respect is to let them feel the loss of it. David is finally learning the value of $1. He's learning that the mooch was actually the pillar that held his entire world together. Leo is doing better in school now. He has to take the bus instead of being driven everywhere. It's building character, whether he likes it or not. I don't miss the noise or the mess. I miss the family I thought I had, but I've learned to love the peace I actually found. If you are in a similar situation, don't be afraid to set boundaries. Family shouldn't be a free pass to treat you like a doormat. I'll still see them for holidays, but it'll be at a restaurant. And this time, David will be the one picking up the check. Respect isn't just about words. It's about acknowledging the sacrifices others make for you every single day. I'm not a mooch. I'm a woman who knew when to stop giving to those who didn't appreciate the gift. They rent an apartment now, and I'm traveling the world. I think we both got exactly what we deserved. What would you have done? Would you have sold the house or given them another chance? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more true stories.